So good morning guys, we're back. Today we've got a rest day and today we'll go through my rest day food at just under 2 weeks out from the NPC European, which will be my first show, my pro debut, and then we will be doing the British Grand Prix after, so we'll still continue documenting everything all the way up until that before we start the new series after my last show. But one thing I want to touch on this morning before we get into the video is the importance of staying top of your health subs. Obviously right now, at this time during prep, it's not going to be the healthiest of sports for any bodybuilders with the supplements that we have to kind of acquire. Not have to, but we do tend to run closer to show. And one supplement that has been pretty vital, well, two supplements actually, I'll let Meg get the other one. Could you get love heart please, darling? Thank you.
The camera.
Yeah, she feels a bit ropey today. But two supplements that I really stand by, that I use morning and night. One is Vital Support, which is it's an all-in-one. It's a liver and kidney support. It's great for blood pressure as well. So this is not only for myself, but I would utilize this with anyone who's kind of older, who has got issues with the liver, as again we all know that many people can have many issues with the livers through many things, drinking especially. But I have actually used that for my dad and this as well, to be honest. So this is a staple right now in my supplementation. I use this morning and night, and I actually use 5 tabs in the morning, 5 tabs at night. And when you actually look at the ingredients of this, to get this separate, it would probably cost you around £100 a month, and you can get this for less than that, less than half of £100. So it's like, what's this? I think £40. Yeah, I think that's £39.99. So you're pretty much saving £60 per month using this. And the ingredient profile is pretty excellent. You've got astragalus, we've got Tudka, you've got NAC, you've got pine bark extract as well, you've got IP6 at pretty high doses as well. And believe me now, if you was to acquire all these separate, a month's supply would cost you roughly around £100 if not more. As Tudka alone, especially at 500 milligrams per day, if you was to run that, it would cost you £60 alone. So you probably are saving £60–80 per month just utilising this. And it's same again with Love Heart. Again, keeping a good healthy HDL levels, and again this improves cholesterol, blood pressure and kidney health alone. But again, ingredients in this are pretty unreal. So you can zoom in on that. Again guys, check this out on Amazon and actually price up these supplements on Amazon and see how much it would cost you to get these supplements separate. So for me, again, I do this to try and help you guys, not only show you my journey, but try and help you along the way with things that I use and I utilise. Not only, I'm not showing you this because I'm sponsored by them. I would use this regardless. As again, I've used Jordan before I got sponsored with him, so I always followed him, I was a member of his site. So it's not just me promoting them because I'm sponsored by them. Believe me now, this stuff is the one, especially in prep and in off season. Obviously in off season you wouldn't use as much of this, but you still would use this year round. I think them two supplements are kind of key for year round supplementation for assisted athletes especially. So I would definitely get on those guys. But now it's time for me to go for a walk, get my steps in. I've done 4 rounds of posing already this morning, and I will show you my meal setup for the day as well. And I've got a physio with, is it Jay?
Who? Oh, is he coming?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jay.
It's Jay, isn't it?
Yeah.
Everyone's called Jay.
R&R
physiotherapy. But yeah, he's coming down at 1 o'clock to do me a physio as well. So you'll get to see that, guys. He has been learning a lot, so he's gotten a lot better, and he knows the areas that I'm actually really tight at. As I've sent him some pictures, through, and he's actually pinpointed exactly where I'm tight without me even telling him. So it has worked out pretty good. So I'm looking forward to that, as again, I am pretty mashed and I am very sore, especially all the posing I'm doing right now in the training. It's definitely needed. So, right, I'll leave you to it, guys. I'm not going to show you the walk because you've seen it enough times, but it's time for me to get the walk in and then meal 1.
Right, so we are having, what Kuba is having, 75 grams of whey with 20 grams of almond butter, all made into a paste. And then adding 100 grams of fruit afterwards as well. AJ actually taught us how to make the paste. It's kind of like a little dessert or a little pudding. Kuba normally has it as his last meal, but he's having it as his first meal today. Don't know why, but that's just it. But this is the way that we're using the chocolate coconut isolate from JP. JP don't do almond butter or fruit, so that's just from Tesco. But yeah, just gonna make it now.
Yeah, so we're looking to do is just stretch off Kuba's muscles as best as possible. I got Kuba to send me in some of his last check-in shots, just to have a look and see what areas are tensional. Obviously on stage he wants to make sure that all muscles are symmetrical, and that we don't have a tight pec or a tight trap or anything like that. Because I treat Kuba quite regularly, I know what his issues are primarily, so he's going to have tight traps, tight shoulders. He's got an injury, or had an injury in his hamstring and IT band on his right side, so they're areas that we usually hit anyway. But we're looking more now at what he's going to look like on stage, so I'm coming every week at the minute just to make sure that there is no tension, that everything is perfectly symmetrical. So that's what we're looking at today. We've got a little bit of an issue on this right side where the separation between the quad and the hamstring isn't exactly what Kuba wants, so we'll work hard on this. You won't be able to tell, but Kuba takes an absolute beating and does check-ins at the same time, which is just freakish because no one can do that. No one can even talk when they're being massaged, let alone do check-ins. But yeah, so that's what we're doing today. Work quite hard on this. I'll be sweating by the end of it, but it all works.
So I think people undervalue tissue work massively, but not only tissue work, but I think people undervalue mobility work, stretching. I think that's something that I have neglected in past. I mean, tissue work, I've never neglected tissue work, but I feel like stretching and mobility work, that's something that I have neglected in the past, and I think recently that's something I have upped my game with a lot, and it has resulted in me having absolutely no niggles, touch wood, and obviously keeping very fresh and still allowing me to train really hard, obviously whilst in prep, without picking up any major issues. Obviously I did, at the start of the prep, I couldn't really train my legs for about 4 or 5 weeks, as I hurt my quad a little bit, just being silly again, my fault. As my strength went really high, I had 2 leg sessions back to back, and I pushed the envelope a little bit too hard on them. What I always tend to do is, if I have one really strong leg session when I'd really hit a peak of my performance and really hit some solid PBs in a lower range, which I think that was the day I did the hack squat at Durham, which is a 6-plate Cybex hack, I think 4th exercise in. I hit 10 reps of that, and any of you know the Cybex hack, it's one of the most challenging hacks, so 6 plates on that is pretty okay. But again, the following session after that, as again I trained legs every 5 days, and my training volume was pretty high back then as well, so as you can imagine, it would have been very hard for me to recover from that session. So normally what I would do is I would take the approach of the next session, I would work in higher rep ranges, but again I felt really strong, and I tried pushing the envelope on the leg press, and in the set I felt nothing, but when I came back off the set I was like, yeah, something's not right, and my right leg just wasn't quite firing as well, and it just all tightened up. It wasn't really an injury as such, but because it was so tight I couldn't really train my right leg or do much with it for about 4 to 5 weeks. So this is why my right leg looks slightly different, especially in the side shot where you have the split between your hamstring and quad. It all kind of looks stuck together. So Jay has been working on that quite a lot and helping with it, so it has been pretty good, to be honest, and it is really making a big difference. And obviously my legs did fade for a little bit as well, but I've managed to really bring them back round now, but they're not quite where I wanted them to be, but they have come back to a sensible level. But again, lesson learned, you know what I mean, guys? Like, we're humans, we're not robots, we all make mistakes, and I'll always be the first one to admit that I've made a mistake. And again, I'm sharing this with you guys so you don't make the same mistakes as me, as again, you know, the series Learning from My Mistakes, it's reminding you guys. So yeah, Marmon's gonna work on me now, get me fresh. So after the physio, we'll get the meal two, which will be steak and greens, which hopefully Meg will make for me. We'll see. Hopefully she makes a banging steak, to be fair. And then we will go down to the gym. So you'll get to see the rest day tour today, and we may be able to go and see if my posing trunks are ready as well for my show. So we'll get that in, guys. Oh, yeah. Thing is, when you go with the muscle fibres, it just feels right, do you know what I mean? It's not that much pain. Whereas I think a lot of therapists don't actually go with the muscle fibres. So it's like trying to go against the grain. It's never going to feel good, is it?
Purpose for going with the muscle fibres is obviously the muscle fibres break when you're training, and when you're massaging them they also break to help them form better. So when they break when they're training, they don't form back together like that. They can form back in all sorts of different ways. So massaging them actually helps them form back the way they're supposed to be, which is why it looks horrific, but it actually feels quite nice, because it's just straightening out the muscle fibres again.
So this is Kuba's meal 2 for today, which is 200 grams of fillet steak from the butchers, some green veg, I've put some beetroot in there, and for some extra girlish gains, some sauerkraut as well. This is normally his meal 1, but he's having it as meal 2 today. I don't know why, but he is. I think it's so that he can have his carb meals towards the end of the day, so he feels a bit hungrier when he goes to bed for a better night's sleep. But I could be wrong, so don't quote me. But I'm going to chop it up now and then he can have it. It's too well done for me, but he likes it when it's not bloody. He likes it when it's medium. So I've made Kuba's 80 grams of cream. It's actually just dropped today, no, yesterday. So it's gone from 100 to 80. So 80 grams of cream of rice, made it on the stove. Then I've made a 75 gram ISO whey paste, which is the cinnamon Danish JP whey. And then we've got 100 grams of frozen berries on there as well.
Smells bad, doesn't it? Back in the castle. There we go. Back at the gym. See what the staff are doing, see what the clients are doing. Get on it, have some bagels, some salmon, job done. Jeffrey? I'm doing very good. How are you getting on? Stacey sorted me out some salsa. And over there I've got my bagels and my salmon, so I'll show you when it's all getting prepared. This is the rest day favourite meal. By far. It's more like a salmon sandwich. Some salsa. Let's go. I'm going to show you a special place in Untitled Rotherham. It's a paradise. Look at this. Paradise tanning. So as you can see, I'm getting a bit of colour, so thankfully we've got our own tanning beds in Rotherham, so I'm going to have a little holiday, 6-minute holiday. Be back soon. Hello.
Why doesn't he come in? But
what are we doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Got the posing trunks on now. Look at that. Perfect. She made exactly how I want them as well. Banging. Happy with that. I'm not even taking them off. I'm going to sleep with them on tonight. Lovely. Absolutely lovely.
Spray it on there. It's like having fried rice.
So, the secret to good chicken, if you want to do it in a pan, the reason I'm doing it in a pan now is because I'm only doing the one portion for today. Tomorrow I will use the grill to do all the chicken. So you want to chop it into little squares and then season it after, and I will show you the secret how to use a pan and cut your chicken with perfection. This is the one. Perfect for me. So we don't really use a 1 cal spray. Instead, what we should do, a little bit of oil in the pan, and then kitchen towel. The best 1 cal spray you'll ever get. What you find with 1 cal spray as well, it just makes everything stick to the pan. If you put a tiny bit of oil in the pan and just cover the pan with a tissue, obviously there's going to be what, 0.5 of a gram there left over, but believe me now, it makes a huge difference when you actually cook the meat. The secret is cover it. Doesn't actually burn too much then, so bring your chicken up to that maximum heat, make sure it's nice and hot, and then you turn it right down to the bottom and just let it simmer. So leave that for a couple of minutes, then we'll start stirring it up. And I've actually got some Mediterranean veg and green beans to throw in with it, so we will add that in. I'll tell you again, prep food is boring and bodybuilding food isn't nice. Pretty simple as well. Tiny bit of low fat soy, well, low salt, low sugar soy on the chicken, probably about what, 5 mil, 4 mil. Salt, pepper, garlic, job's a good one. And a little bit of speciality, this bad boy. This bad boy pretty much goes on everything. It's this, or the original, the OG, the Polish one. This is the Don. If you don't know, now you know. Right, quick fire Q&A. Right, let's do it. So, we've got from Hassan, biggest learning curve in life, business, bodybuilding. I think the biggest learning curve has been trusting the wrong people and listening to poor advice really, and not really questioning much. So I think the biggest learning curve has to be now is I question everything. If something doesn't really sound right or doesn't quite sit right, it more than likely isn't right. So and that really applies for life, business and bodybuilding, to be honest. It all kind of works together. And yeah, I think I have been fortunate to make a lot of mistakes that has led to me being to where, well, has led me to actually getting to where I am, which is a blessing in disguise really. Where do you see yourself in 40 years? Well, at 40, no. Yeah, where do you see yourself at 40? From Nick. Hopefully a few more gyms under the belt, and probably coming up to a retirement age with the competitive bodybuilding around 40, and probably planning a more of a constructive retirement, probably living somewhere sunny and chilling. That's pretty much where, something a bit like Dorian, you know, just on a smaller scale. What made you interested in becoming an open class bodybuilder? Like, that's always been the goal since I started bodybuilding, so it's never really been something that I was interested in all of a sudden. That's always been the interest. What's best JP whey cream of rice combo? To be honest, mate, the cream of rice tastes that good. I don't think combining it would be a good option, although the hazelnut and white chocolate raspberry is pretty good concoction, to be honest, so I definitely like that one. Do you experience headaches due to intensity training? No, intensity doesn't really cause headaches. If you are experiencing headaches, then likelihood is you're probably dehydrated. As many people definitely undervalue the kind of importance of hydration, but not only drinking water, but hydration through getting rid of salt in, etc. as well. Single arm slash leg exercises, rest between each arm or after have done both arms. So if it's arms, then I wouldn't rest in between. If it's legs, yes I would, as leg is always a lot more challenging. In short, best time to take it before meals and split the dose into whatever you need. So it all depends on your needs. Again, I would likely use it with the larger carbohydrate meals for sure. Yes, I do periodised training. I lower volume accordingly and I deload accordingly as well. So yes, that is the form of periodisation. What has made me a successful coach? I definitely think years and years of experience and doing this day in day out. I live and breathe it, and many people forget I started coaching when I was 18, so I'm 26 now, so it has been 8 years now in the trenches. So I've got something that is pretty much invaluable, and that's 8 years worth of experience of doing this day in day out with people, men and women, specifically based around bodybuilding and comp prep. So how did my coaching take off? 2015, when I competed at the Junior Mr. Universe. After that show, I pretty much took off quite well with coaching, to the point where I didn't have to do any one-to-one PTing anymore, and I didn't have to do any door work. I just focused solely on online coaching. So I pretty much started full-time in 2015, and that's pretty much when it took off, and that's pretty much when I started getting the best results for people as well. So it all kind of comes hand in hand. The more results I started getting, the more it took off, and it hasn't really slowed down since. It's just grew and grew year by year. When's Kuba clothing sale coming to the public? It's not, but if you want clothing, trainbyjp.com or ultraflex.co.uk. Again, because I have got a gym that has obviously gym clothing, and I have got a sponsor that has a clothing brand, I'm not really interested in bringing my own clothing out just yet. How to prevent bloating? To be honest, mate, choosing foods that do not bloat you. It's pretty much as simple as that. If you are getting bloated of certain foods, do not eat them. It's pretty simple, mate. Unless something else is causing you bloat, then obviously pinpoint what is actually the cause of the issue. Again, not much info to go with there, but okay. How blessed are you to be where you are in life right now? I am very blessed, and I'm very thankful to be where I am right now, and I know that I am in such a good position right now, and again, I feel thankful every day for that. So yes, very, very blessed, to be honest. How do I feel going to pro debut? Feel good, man. At the end of the day, I'm just getting my feet wet. I'm 26, doing a first pro show against the big boys. What have I got to lose? Absolutely nothing. Again, a couple of years, I'll be knocking at the door, but not just yet. This year's just a bit of a trial year, so to speak. What's your protocol for day before stage on your last comp? Pretty much the same. I was just eating and chilling, posing. That is it. No magical peaking, as so a lot of people think. Peaking is actually very easy and very simple, and if you follow a simple approach, there's very little that can go wrong. And again, when people say they're doing some complicated peaks, they just don't know what they're talking about, to be honest. But each their own. After low volume max effort mesocycle, how would you set up your next mesocycles? High volume? No. Why would you set up a high volume mesocycle after doing a low volume slot? No, I wouldn't. I would just probably deload, probably take some rest, and then get back to it. I might adjust volume accordingly depending on recovery capabilities, but I wouldn't opt for high volume, because again, if you are so used to low volume approach and you are strong, likelihood is you will not be able to handle high volume. Curcumin daily intake, morning and night. I have a double dose from JP Curcumin. Let's get some interesting ones. You train so low volume at the moment. Is this how it'll stay for off season? Yes, and throughout off season it'll probably get even lower, to the point where I'll probably be doing like 6-7 working sets per session. The stronger I get, the less you have to do. That's just as simple as that. And the biggest mistake I made in my last off season is trying to overdo the volume when I got to peak levels of strength, and that was a huge mistake that cost me a lot of progress. So I will not let that happen again. Possible flexible dieting when in prep? Yes, it's possible, bud, but likelihood is you will end up looking like trash. So it's possible, but it's not the most optimal. Flexible dieting is great for general public. If you want to be a bodybuilder and prep, flexible dieting is not the option unless you like to come last. Then go ahead. But that's just my take on flexible dieting. If you want to do flexible dieting and do a comp prep, then bodybuilding isn't for you, unfortunately. Do I think using RPE while you're programming training for your clients or yourself? What? Do I think, or do I use it? I don't use it, no. I think it's a great way for powerlifters, yes, but I wouldn't use it with my clients personally, no. RDLs or stiff leg deadlifts for hamstrings. Seated leg curl for hamstrings, bud. No RDLs or stiff legs. Again, compound work, it will challenge your whole posterior chain, but if you want to work hamstring isolations, there are far more effective movements that will help that for sure. Carbs in every meal or just around workouts? What about rest day, lower carbs, higher fats? So generally I do have slightly lower carbs on the rest day, but that's because my calories are slightly low as well. I do have my fats a little bit higher in the rest day, but it's not much, it's marginal. And again, training day, my carbs are pretty much in every single meal apart from my last meal, and in off season they are in every single meal. So it'll be 7 meals and 7 carb meals. Obviously one of these meals will be an intra. How's food been recently? Well, you've probably seen it in this episode, so not bad. And if you go on trainbyjp.com, you can see all my food on there as well. Wondering, how about what? People can't spell, but honestly, I don't know what we're reading here. So, how would you train traps as a natural lifter? Exactly the same way as you would with an assisted lifter. Shrug. Shrug. Or there's many ways you can actually train traps, but I think indirectly the traps really do get trashed with any hip hinge movement, a deadlift, a row, and again, obviously shrugs, but it all depends which area of your trap you're trying to target. Again, the upper trap you will only get with shrugs, and you will not actually get any of the rhomboid work from the shrug. So there are different ways you can hit your traps, but it all depends where it's weak and what you're trying to target. Right, so I will wrap up on this, guys, as there's plenty more questions. I've probably got a quarter of the way through. But yeah, thank you for watching, guys. Really appreciate it. Again, another rookie episode done. What's next, guys? What's releasing next? This will be released just before the show, won't it?
The Wednesday before.
Wednesday before show?
Yeah.
So this will actually be released the Wednesday before the show. So yes, when you're watching this, guys, it'll be almost time to compete. So thank you for watching, guys. Thank you for tuning in. And again, anything you want to see, guys, comment below. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you and peace out. Rookie season out.